My primary areas of law are civil and criminal litigation, and a lot of the civil litigation involves, unfortunately, foreclosures and bankruptcies and helping people that are in financial distress. When I started part-time, I was working in the accounting and budgeting department at People's Bank, and I put myself initially through night school, started law school at night. About halfway through, I was anxious to complete my law degree, so I left the employment there and I finished. So it took me 4 years. Full-time, though, would take 3. Initially, I wasn't planning on being an attorney. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in accounting. I wanted to go on and get a master's degree, and I just thought that a law degree could be used in business also. So I never had the initial inclination to become an attorney. But I chose to go to law school as opposed to pursuing a master's. And when I worked at People's Bank, one of my bosses was a lady, and her husband was an attorney and had a practice, and one thing led to another, and he and I joined up as I graduated, and have been going ever since. Well, there's no requirements. If somebody needs help, they need help, and the only requirement is, again, that the people cooperate with us, because you do have some people come in and they're afraid of lawyers, even though they need a lawyer, and they won't be completely honest, or they won't be completely forthright with the information that's needed, and that can get everybody in trouble. That can get them in trouble, that can get me in trouble. But some people come in and they can't win their case. It's obvious from the beginning. The evidence is clearly not in their favor, and you help explain that to them. So in that situation, you're not taking on the case to try to win it, you're taking on the case to try to minimize whatever the damage is and to get the best possible result for the client. That's rare, but there are cases like that. Most of the time, though, if you believe you can win, you take it on and prepare for that. For a criminal case or some other civil cases, the most important thing in preparing, if you're going to end up at trial, is what they call discovery. That is, initially sitting down with the client, gathering as much information, convincing them that they have to be truthful and honest with you and complete with the information they give you. And then it's, if there's a location that's involved, going out and viewing the location, looking at all the documents, interviewing people, and in law, sometimes that means a deposition where you bring in a court reporter who will transcribe the testimony of the person, who would do it right here in this office maybe. And the more information you can gather is the most important process of preparing for trial. Studying the law, learning what the law is, so I can make the facts that I'm gathering through this process fit the law and fit my argument. I'm licensed in the state of Connecticut. I'm also licensed on the federal bar to practice in federal courts. If I went to a different state and wanted to present something through a federal court, I'd have to get special permission to do so. I'm also, although I don't practice it much anymore, a member of what they call the tax bar. The tax court is a little separate from the regular federal court, and I'm also a member of that, so I could practice before the tax court anywhere. But most of our work is state court, and I can't practice outside of Connecticut. It's changed in a lot of ways. The actual practice of how you prepare for and conduct a case has not changed significantly, but a lot of things have changed in the last 5 or 6 years, when the economy went bad, when the mortgage companies started having problems and people couldn't get loans and the unemployment began. A lot of things happened. Real estate went very bad, so a lot of attorneys who used to do nothing but real estate law and real estate closings no longer had any business, because nobody was closing on loans, or very few people were. So they started practicing other areas of law, whether it's family law or criminal law. They had to start shifting there. So it became more competitive in areas like that, because some attorneys had to shift their practice. Also, with people unemployed, a lot of people could no longer afford an attorney. So a lot of people are trying to find alternatives to using attorneys, not because they don't want an attorney and it would be in their best interest to have one, but a lot of times they can't afford an attorney. And attorneys have had to come to grips with trying to help people who can't afford at least not your full fee, and you do what you can. There are times when it is, and when you're at trial, it can be very exciting and but 95% of the time through a case is very slow, boring, tedious. No, it's not that easy, and to be honest with you, a lot of times it's a lot more tedious and boring and not as glamorous as it looks on TV also. My favorite type of law is, well, actually both of them, because people who are in the financial distress and are facing criminal charges and so on, that's an extremely stressful and trying time for them. And it's quite satisfying to be able to help them get through that, to relieve some of the stress, help them sleep at night, and I've been quite successful at getting people through those hard times. But especially the financial, I mean, somebody commits a crime, it's kind of their own fault. Some people are in financial troubles. That's beyond their control, that wasn't their fault in the first place. And so I guess I'd say that that's the most satisfying. Attorney is a great practice. I mean, the one thing I love about being an attorney is you don't have to get bored in your job or your practice, even though sometimes preparing for certain cases is tedious. I represent people in civil matters, I represent people in criminal matters. If I ever got tired with that, I could try to practice a different area of law. I'd have to get, educated on it and gain some experience in it. But it's almost like you can do anything. You can be relevant to any industry that's out there. If you wanted to be involved with the entertainment industry, you could. If you wanted to be involved with the sports industry, you could, with construction. So being an attorney allows you to do almost anything you want to do. So that, I think, is a very exciting part of being an attorney.